let's meet our teams. Let's start with the team from St. Charles. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Steven Duransky. I'm a senior, and I would like to thank our coaches, Mr. Howard and Ms. Potter, for coming with us tonight.
I'm Pierre Dela Cruz. I'm a senior, and I'd like to thank my amazing family and friends for supporting me throughout my high school career.
My name is Renee Demine, and I'd like to thank my family and friends and also the people of Moldova for supporting me.
All right, let's meet the team from Westlake.
I'm Hannah Schaffner. I'm a junior. I'd like to thank everyone that came out tonight.
Hi, I'm Miggy. My name is Miggy Darcera, and I'd like to thank our coaches, Ms. D'Onofrio and Ms. Finch Howard, for coming out tonight.
My name is Megan Carr. I'm a senior, and I'd like to thank my mom and the coaches for coming out tonight.
All right, let's meet the team from La Plata.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Washington, and I'm a senior, and I'd like to thank our coaches, Ms. Schoenbauer and Mr. Holmes, and our team for coming out to support us tonight.
I'm Michael Gill. I'm a senior at La Plata, and I'd like to thank our principal, Mr. Dolan, and the Waldorf JCs for supporting the competition.
I'm Sam Yorio, and I'm a sophomore, and I'd like to thank our alternative, Margaret Stein, for coming out.
10 questions, man the buzzers, round one. First question. Women in this state were the first in the United States to vote even before it joined the Union in 1890. Westlake.
Wyoming.
Wyoming is correct. Next question. His track, Ultralight Beam, features Chance the Rapper and appears on his album, The Life of Pablo. Westlake.
Kanye West.
That is correct. Next question. Home of craters named for Pocahontas and Victoria Woodhull, it rotates from east to west like Uranus. Which planet is visible from Earth a few minutes after sunset and a few minutes before sunrise? Westlake.
Mercury.
No, I'm sorry, Venus. Venus, the correct answer. Next question. A great star early drooped in the western sky is like what United States president, the subject of Walt Whitman's poem, When Lilacs Last, the Dooryard Bloomed, after he was La Plata?
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln is correct. Next question. Its songs include Gee, Officer Krupke, and Somewhere. Name this Broadway musical about two New York City gangs called the Sharks, La Plata.
West Side Story.
That is correct. Next question. He first became popular when Adam West portrayed him on a television series in the 1960s. St. Charles.
Batman.
Batman is correct. Next question. Typically traveling from west to east, these rivers of wind move about 7 miles above the Earth's surface. Generally unpredictable, they are a major influence on the weather. La Plata.
Monsoons.
No, I'm sorry, jet stream. Next question. Philosopher Bertrand Russell, children's author Roald Dahl, and poet Dylan Thomas are among the men of letters who were born in what part of the United Kingdom, directly west of England? St. Charles.
Wales.
That is correct. Next question. They may explain how areas separated by huge bodies of water somehow have similar plants and animals. Give the two-word term for these objects that may have once connected. St. Charles.
Continental drift.
No, I'm sorry, land bridges. Land bridges is what we're looking for. Final question, round one. Its eastern panhandle includes the town of Harper's Ferry, while it's La Plata.
West Virginia.
West Virginia is correct, and that's the end of round one. And how about a round of applause for our team? All right, here we go, St. Charles. Your first question. The first American to translate Dante's Divine Comedy into English taught at Harvard and is most famous for his poetry. Name this 19th century writer of Paul Revere's Ride and Evangeline. Sorry, we're out of time. It's Longfellow. Longfellow. Next question. In an opera by this composer, a title character sings, "I got plenty of nothing." Name this American composer of Porgy and Bess and Rhapsody in Blue.
George Gershwin.
That is correct. Next question. 5 days after it ended, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. Name this September 1862 Civil War battle in Maryland, still the bloodiest single day of fighting in U.S. history.
The Battle of Antietam.
That is correct. Next question. Identify the configuration of elements in an electric circuit where each element is a separate branch of the circuit, a configuration often used together with the series configuration.
Parallel.
That is correct. Next question. Pencils and paper ready. We're just pausing because this is a historic moment and it's academic. Charles Kelly. All right, here we go. What is 50% of 1/2 of 1/4?
(1/16).
That is correct. So let it be written, the first question with pencils and paper was correct at the academic competition. Good job. All right, here's our next question. The English words biathlon, bicuspid, bicameral, binoculars, bicep, bipolar, and bicycle all begin with the Latin prefix bi. That means what number in English?
2.
That is correct. Next question. He met with Jose de San Martin at the Guayaquil Conference. For 3 years, while the first president of Gran Colombia, he was also dictator of Peru. Name this Venezuelan general who preferred to be called the Liberator.
Simón Bolívar.
That is correct. Final question. Tranquilizers and CPAP machines are 2 ways people try to improve this in their daily lives. Identify this practice that some experts say we should spend 7 to 8 hours doing every night.
Sleep.
That is correct. Okay, here we go, Westlake. First question. His nonfiction writings include Old Times on the Mississippi and A Tramp Abroad. Name this American writer of The Prince and the Pauper and Tom Sawyer Abroad.
Mark Twain.
That is correct. Next question. Name the Austrian composer of the operas Così fan tutte and Don Giovanni, who died at age 35, just months after the premiere of his opera The Magic Flute.
Mozart.
That is correct. Next question. Benjamin Banneker helped survey the land for this city that was originally designed by Pierre L'Enfant. Name this site of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and of America's National Mall.
D.C.
That is judges, is that, yep, that's correct, okay. Next question. A diet high in salt may raise this value to a point where medication is needed to keep this measurement between 120/80 and 140/90. Name this health factor often checked with a very tight cuff.
Blood pressure.
That is correct. Next question. Pencils and paper ready. Here we go. Simplify this expression as much as possible. The quantity x to the 1/2 power raised to the 4th power divided by x to the negative 1st power. We ran out of time. X to the 3rd power. X to the 3rd power is what we were looking for. All right. Guys, go ahead and close the folders. And here we go with our next question. The words accurate, curator, sinecure, and pedicure all come from the Latin root cura, which means what four-letter word in English that is what a hospital patient receives from doctors and nurses?
A cure?
Cure? No, I'm sorry, it's care. Care. Next question. Consisting of islands between the Straits of Magellan and the Drake Passage, its city of Ushuaia calls itself the southernmost city in the world. Identify this area of South America divided between Chile and Argentina.
The Falkland Islands?
No, I'm sorry, Tierra del Fuego. Final question, Westlake. This unit is the last name of the German physicist who built circuits to study the relationship between voltage and current. Name this standard unit, defined as 1 volt per ampere, that measures resistance.
Watt.
No, I'm sorry, ohm. All right, La Plata, you guys get packet 1. Here's your first question. The house in which he spent his first years with his wife Sophie is mentioned in his story collection, Mosses from an Old Manse. Name this 19th century American writer of The Scarlet Letter.
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
That is correct. Next question. His coffee cantata features a girl named Lieschen who requires boyfriends to let her drink as much coffee as she wants. Name this Baroque composer of 6 Brandenburg concertos and a toccata and fugue in D minor.
Beethoven.
No, I'm sorry, Johann Sebastian Bach. Next question. Revolts led by this group included the Haitian Revolution and those led by Spartacus and Nat Turner. Name this group of people freed in America in 1863 by Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation.
Slaves.
That is correct. Next question. The tricuspid valve, the bicuspid valve, mitral valve, and septum are all found in what organ that suffers a myocardial infarction if blood stops flowing to it?
The heart.
That is correct. Pencil and paper ready. Here we go. F of x is 2x, while g of x is x squared. If x equals 2, what is g of f of x?
16.
That is correct. And it's amazing how you guys do this. Here we go. Next question. The words cosmopolis, acropolis, and geopolitics all include the Greek root polis, which means what 4-letter noun in English whose examples include New Orleans and Houston?
City.
That is correct. Next question. November 18, 2018 marked the 40th anniversary of the mass suicide by the followers of Jim Jones, as well as the shooting of California Senator Leo Ryan as he came to investigate the cult of the People's Temple. Name the South American country where this horrific act was carried out by over 900 followers.
Guyana.
That is correct. Final question, La Plata, and final question for round 2. Name the method of heat transfer that uses some type of fluid to move the heat around and is often taught together with radiation and conduction.
Convection.
That is correct, and that is the end of the round. How about a round of applause for the team? Round 3, we have 10 questions. When I ask the question, once you buzz in, wait for me to call your school name. When I call your name, then you have 3 seconds to respond. You get 10 points for answering correctly. You lose 10 points for an incorrect answer. All right, here we go. Man the buzzers. Question 1. Its day is less than 12 Earth hours, but its year is more than 7 Earth years. One of its satellites fell out of orbit and crashed into it, or that's a theory of how which planet could have developed its rings. Westlake.
Saturn.
Saturn is correct. Next question. The secret to it is to let sugar, butter, cocoa, and milk boil together for exactly 90 seconds before adding peanut butter. Westlake.
Hot chocolate.
No, I'm sorry, it's a no-bake cookie. Next question. If you're reading and see a word you don't recognize, you may be able to figure out its meaning by using Plata. Context, that's correct. Next question. She has started college at Oxford after growing up in Pakistan's Swat Valley. Name this youngest ever. Westlake. That's correct. Next question. This adjective describes the snakehead fish that has caused problems since it entered the U.S. La Plata.
Invasive.
That's correct. Next question. Often shaped like an octagon or a turret, it shelters the people inside it while allowing a 360-degree view of the outside. Give the 6-letter word for this type of pavilion, sometimes called a summer house. We're out of time. It's a gazebo. Gazebo. Next question. His space trilogy of sci-fi novels reimagines the planet Venus as a place called Perelandra. Name this British creator of The Chronicles of Narnia. La Plata. That is correct. Next question. In a coordinate plane, if points in quadrant 3 are located in the southwest, where are points that are located in quadrant 4? La Plata.
Southeast.
Southeast is correct. Next question. One brother in this family drove off a bridge on Chappaquiddick Island and killed Mary Jo. Westlake.
The Kennedys.
The Kennedy family is correct. Final question. Once called Zimride, job openings at this company, begun by Logan Green and John Zimmer, include Associate Manager, City Marketing. Name this rideshare company whose major competitor is Uber. Westlake.
Lyft.
Lyft is correct. And that is the end of our first round of competition. Let's hear it for the team. And let's meet our teams, beginning with the team from North Point.
Hi, I'm Amara Gamma. I'm a senior at North Point, and I'd like to thank our family and friends for coming out tonight.
Hi, I'm Adam Cullen. I'm also a senior here at North Point, and I want to thank Ms. Davis, the vice principal, for coming out tonight, and also our coaches, Ms. Stewart and Ms. Rocklinski. I also want to thank Dennis Whitley IV for founding the great North Point Empire.
I'm Andrew Fan. I'm also a senior and would like to thank an alternate Amber Wachowski and the rest of our team for coming out.
Let's meet our team from Thomas Stone.
My name is Dosius, and I'm a 15-year-old sophomore. I'd like to thank Mr. Charlton and the administrators for their support.
My name is Lindsay. I'm a 17-year-old senior, and we'd like to dedicate this game to our former teammate Malachi, who sadly moved away, and I'd like to thank our alternate Alexa.
Hi, my name is Clayton. I'm a 16-year-old junior. I'd like to thank our coach, Ms. Jeffrey, and our dedicated supporter, Ms. Howard.
Now let's meet our team from Lackey.
I'm Jacob Moorhead. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Lackey, and I'd like to thank our friends, family, and fans for coming out and attending.
Hi, my name is Annie Landgraf, and I'm a junior from Lackey. I'd like to thank all our friends and family for coming out, as well as our coach, Mr. Winowski.
Hi, I'm Peter Stewart. I'm a 17-year-old senior at Lackey. I want to thank Garrett, Sahana, and Brennan for coming out and cheering for us today.
Round one, all the answers in this round have something to do with an island or islands. An island or islands. All right, here we go. First question. What countries' overseas territories still include the Turks and Caicos Islands, the Pitcairn Islands, the Cayman Islands, and the Falkland Islands? Lackey.
The United Kingdom.
That is correct. Next question. Canada's Queen Elizabeth Islands, Denmark's Shannon Island, Norway's Jan Mayen Island, and America's Little Diomede Island are all located within what northernmost ocean? North Point.
The Arctic Ocean.
That's correct. Next question. This character rescues a native and names him after the day of the week on which he finds him. Lackey.
Robinson Crusoe.
That's correct. Next question. Name the island 660 miles south of Tokyo, whose 1945 World War II battle is most famous today for its photo of 6 North Point.
Iwo Jima.
That is correct. Next question. Much of this novel takes place on the Caribbean island of San Lorenzo, where residents believe in McDonoughnism. The chemical Ice 9 is developed in what Kurt Vonnegut novel? North Point.
Slaughterhouse 5.
Say that again?
Slaughterhouse 5.
No, I'm sorry, Cat's Cradle, Cat's Cradle. Next question. In 1778, he led soldiers from his native Massachusetts to try to capture Newport, Rhode Island. Name this founding father, famed for his huge signature at the bottom of the North Point.
John Hancock.
That is correct. Next question. Islands near it include the South Orkneys and South Sandwich Islands. Name this continent that includes Mount Erebus and the Vincent Massif and the South Pole.
Antarctica?
Lackey.
Oh, Antarctica?
There you go. That's correct. Next question. In 1898, the U.S. blockaded this nation after the USS North Point.
Cuba.
Cuba is correct. Next question. While advocating for social change, while simultaneously allowing his listeners to dance, name this musical artist, North Point.
Bob Dylan.
No, I'm sorry, you got the Bob right. It was Bob Marley. Final question of round one. The island where its main characters live is invaded by green pigs who like to eat eggs. Name this movie based on a video game app. Stone.
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds is correct. And that's the end of round one. How about a round of applause for our team? Lackey, you get to choose North Point's packet, 1, 2, or 3.
3.
3. All right. Here we go, North Point, with your first question. A tuning fork diagram classifying these objects was designed by Edwin Hubble, whose namesake law states that these objects continually move away from the Earth. What astronomical objects type include elliptical and spiral?
Galaxies.
That's correct. Next question. His collections of short stories include Master Humphrey's Clock and the Mud Fog Papers. Name this British writer of Martin Chuzzlewit, The Cricket on the Hearth, and A Tale of Two Cities.
Dickens.
That's correct. Next question. Her time as ruler included the colonization of Virginia and the destruction of the Spanish Armada. Name this British queen whose golden age of England lasted from 1558 until her death in 1603.
Elizabeth I.
Correct. Next question. In which city was Dealey Plaza, the site of John F. Kennedy's assassination, dedicated as a National Historic Landmark in 1993?
Houston.
No, I'm sorry, it was Dallas. Dallas. Next question. Placing one near your computer can remove data from your computer. Identify this common object, usually made of iron, whose north poles repel each other but are attracted to south poles.
A magnet?
That's correct. Next question. Built in the Art Deco style, it is still the tallest brick building in the world. What New York City skyscraper with a stainless steel spire is named for an American automobile executive?
The Chrysler Building?
That's correct. Next question. The International Association of Firefighters and the United Steelworkers are both what type of organization helping workers to band together, whose other examples include the National Education Association?
A union.
Say that again?
A union?
Yes, that's correct. Pencils and paper ready. If a parabola has x-intercepts at -3 and 9, what is the equation of the axis of symmetry?
X is equal to 3?
That is correct. And that's the end of your questions. Here's your first question, Thomas Stone. Name the astronomical result of a supernova explosion that causes its central region to collapse under gravity, forcing its protons and electrons together.
A black hole.
No, I'm sorry, it's a neutron star. Neutron star. Next question. On a blustery day, his house blows down, along with the tree in it. Name this wise bird character who lives in a tree in the 100-acre wood in the Winnie the Pooh stories.
Owl.
Owl is correct. Next question. Fired by Kaiser Wilhelm II in 1890. Bismarck. Next question. The 1935 legislation establishing this program also began aid to the blind and physically handicapped. Name this entitlement program that has generally helped retired people have enough money to live on.
Social Security.
That is correct. And in my case, it's my oldest daughter, Heather, who works for Anheuser-Busch and is doing quite well. My oldest son, Randy, said, Dad, you hit a certain age, I'm taking you to the vet and putting you to sleep, so he's out. Here we go. I digressed, so I apologize. Here's your next question. Question number 5. Rocky Mountain spotted fever and Lyme disease are just 2 illnesses it can pass to humans. What black-legged pest burrows into the skin and must be removed carefully to avoid leaving the head behind?
A tick.
That is correct. Next question. It is open to location in New Delhi, India. Identify this chain of wax museums named for its female founder who created death masks during the French Revolution.
Madame Tussauds.
That is correct. Next question. It has learned how to coexist with humans in urban areas, partly by eating pets left out at night. Name this predator, similar to a jackal but smaller than a wolf, that hunts in packs and is known for its howl.
A mountain lion.
No, I'm sorry, it's coyote. Here's your final question. Pencils and paper ready. If the circumference of circle C is 10 square units, what is the radius of circle C written in simplest form? We're out of time. 5 divided by pi. 5 divided by pi. All right, that's your final question, Stone. And here we go, Lackey. Here's your first question. Radiation detectors and atmospheric sensors are some of the instruments on board what NASA robot geologists whose examples include Curiosity and Opportunity that both explored Mars?
Rovers.
That is correct. Next question. In the novel Ivanhoe, he defeats Hubert in an archery tournament and gives his name as Locksley. Give the two-word nickname for this medieval outlaw with a base of operations in Sherwood Forest.
Robin Hood.
That is correct. Next question. The explorer Diogo de Silvas, who found the Azores Islands in the mid-1400s, was from what European country whose later explorers included Prince Henry the Navigator and Ferdinand Magellan?
Spain.
I'm sorry, Portugal. Next question. Its skywalk is operated by the Wallapai Indians and allows you to walk out over its south rim and see a long way down. Name this landmark created by the Colorado River winding its way through Arizona.
The Grand Canyon.
That is correct. Next question. It is similar to a mussel but lives in fresh water, and its two shells are connected by adductor muscles. What type of shellfish can be made into the red Manhattan or white New England type of chowder?
Oyster.
No, I'm sorry, clam chowder. Next question. Works in this medium include Moonrise, Hernandez, New Mexico, and Moon Over Half Dome by Ansel Adams. Name this medium used by Dorothea Lange to depict a migrant mother by using a camera.
Photography.
That is correct. Next question. Now owned by a Chinese firm who bought it from Ford. In 2019, it will start building only hybrid or electric cars. Identify this Swedish car firm whose name comes from Latin for I roll. Volvo. Final question. Pencils and paper ready. Give the other endpoint of a line segment that begins at 4, -3, and whose midpoint is 10, 4.
16.
Two of them? Two numbers?
Four 16.
No, I'm sorry, 16, 11. 10 plus 6 and 4 plus 7. But that's the end of round 2, and now we're going to get ready for round 3. How about a round of applause for the team? Grab the buzzers. Here we go. First question. It can be topped with a screw cap to keep its contents from boiling over after it's held too long in a Bunsen burner. Name this lab object, usually made of glass or plastic, that can be held with tongs and stored in a rack. Lackey.
Test tube.
That's correct. Next question. Recent films in this series included a 3-parter on the Celtics-Lakers NBA rivalry of the 1980s. Name this movie series created to mark a special ESPN anniversary. Lackey.
30 for 30.
That is correct. Next question. Bordered by the Karakoram Mountains, only one side of it sees large amounts of precipitation. Name this Asian mountain range that includes the Kanchenjunga and Mount Everest. Stone.
The Himalayas.
Himalayas is correct. Next question. The Japanese goddess Amaterasu, the Incan god Inti, the Egyptian god Ra, the Greek god Helios, North Point.
They're all gods of the sun.
The sun, that is correct. Next question. The longest one of its kind for pedestrians opened in the Swiss Alps in 2017. What type of bridge's name comes from its supports that hang down from above and hold steady the part North Point?
Suspension.
Suspension, that is correct. Next question. Characters in this show include Melina and Nezaros. Name this hit Broadway musical said to be the untold story of the Witches of Oz. North Point.
Wicked.
Wicked is correct. Next question. Her albums for Big Machine Records include one with the song Welcome to New York. Name this North Point.
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is correct. Next question. You should use one of these, which can be tricky to do correctly, even if the noun it goes with is plural or is singular, but ends in S. Identify this punctuation mark used to indicate both a contraction and a North Point.
Apostrophe.
Apostrophe is correct. Next question. By what name is the graph of the equation x squared minus y squared equals 17?
Circle.
I'm sorry, it's hyperbole. Hyperbole. I think my mic just went out. I'll talk about it for you guys. Heinrich Schliemann used knowledge from this field to find historical evidence for the Iliad. Name this field whose experts Howard Carter and Arthur Evans excavated King Tut's tomb, North Point.
Archaeology.
Archaeology is correct. That is the end of round 3. And before we begin, let's meet the team from McDonough.
I'm Daniel Hines. I'm a senior at McDonough. I'd like to thank our team and our coach, Ms. Hobbs, for coming out tonight and supporting us.
Hi, I'm Camden Edge. I'm also a senior. I would like to thank our principal, Mr. Roberts, and our parents.
Hi, I'm Nick Long. I'm a freshman from McDonough High School, and I'd like to thank everyone who's come out to support McDonough.
All right, we'll get ready for round 1. Again, it's a theme round. We have 10 questions related to one theme. You buzz in, I'll call on your school. You have 3 seconds to answer. You get 10 points for answering correctly, lose 10 points for an incorrect answer. In this round, all the questions have to do with something French. Something French. Here we go. First question. Identify the French-Canadian explorer, now the namesake of an Illinois town, who, with Father Marquette, explored and mapped much of the Mississippi River in the late 1600s. McDonough.
Des Moines.
No, I'm sorry, Joliet. Joliet. Next question. Former French Open champion Juan Carlos Ferrero, a native of Spain, became famous in what sport? Whose most famous Spaniard, McDonough?
Tennis.
Say it again?
Tennis.
That is correct. Next question. After the 7 Years' War, it divided British and Spanish territory into North America until the French obtained the Spanish territory. Identify this major body of water that connects Minnesota with Louisiana.
The Mississippi River.
McDonough.
Mississippi River.
That's correct. Next question. French composer Claude Debussy wrote his Golliwogg's Cakewalk in what genre, succeeded by jazz after World War I, whose major piano composers included American Scott Joplin? St. Charles. Ragtime is correct. Next question. It includes a reading of the charges against a defendant. Give this legal term from French and describes a hearing where a criminal defendant appears before a judge and pleads either guilty or not guilty. McDonough.
Indictment?
No, I'm sorry, arraignment. Arraignment. Next question. This headquarters of Micron Technology is home to the Simplot company that makes frozen French fries. Name this capital of Idaho. Lackey.
Boise.
Boise is correct. Next question. Name the man who, after the Thermidorian reaction, lost his position as head of the French Revolution's reign of terror. McDonough.
Pierre.
Say it again.
Pierre.
Judges? No, I'm sorry. Robespierre. Robespierre is what we're looking for. Is that what he said?
That's what we said.
Okay. So, you heard it, judges? They heard, he said it, okay, all right, okay, correct. All right, next question. The Philadelphia Museum of his work includes his sculptures Medea and Minerva. Name this French artist whose massive work, The Gates of Hell, also includes The Kiss and the Thinker. St. Charles. That is correct. Next question. This object's owner has it stolen by an unscrupulous French minister who then blackmails her. Name this title object in an Edgar Allan Poe short story that is hard to find because it is hidden in plain sight. Okay, we're out of time. The purloined letter. Final question of round one. Identify the European country whose name in French, Pays-Bas, means low country, and whose biggest cities include Utrecht and The Hague. McDonough.
The Netherlands?
That's correct. That's the end of round one, so how about a round of applause for our team? So what happened, the question of Robespierre, I said it was correct, but actually all we heard, the judges heard, was Pierre, not Robespierre. So unfortunately, it's incorrect. So there was a challenge about that. Here we go, McDonough. A combustion reaction involves this element and a hydrocarbon. Name the second most abundant element in Earth's atmosphere that is also a critical component of water.
Hydrogen.
Did you say hydrogen? I'm sorry, it's oxygen. Oxygen. Next question. One of these animals was thought to have killed Thisbe in myth. Name this type of animal, whose other examples include the cowardly one in Oz.
Lion.
That is correct. Next question. On September 23rd, 1779, which U.S. naval captain uttered the famous words, "Sir, I have not yet begun to fight"?
John Paul Jones.
That is correct. Pencils and paper ready. If the principal square root of x equals 1,000, what is the cube root of x? We're out of time. 100. All right, go ahead and close those folders, please. Thank you. Our next question. In English, their order in a sentence should describe size, then age, then color, then origin, as in large old red Persian, in that order to describe a rug. Identify this part of speech that modifies nouns.
Adjective.
That is correct. Next question. French artist Camille Pissarro was a member of what school of art whose paintings often look only partly completed because many of their details were deliberately left fuzzy or unclear?
Abstract.
No, I'm sorry, Impressionism. Next question. On which Asian peninsula are the countries of Yemen and Oman located on its southern part?
Arabian Peninsula.
That is correct. And here's your final question of this round. An animal's methods of using this may include counter-illumination or self-decoration. What term describes the ability of some creatures to hide from predators by blending into their surroundings?
Camouflage.
That is correct. Here we go, St. Charles, with your first question. Alizarin yellow turns red in one of these, while phenolphthalein turns pink. What type of solution with a pH greater than 7 is defined as any substance that can accept hydrogen ions?
Basic.
Judges? That's correct. Next question. In myth, the god Hephaestus made one for Hercules against Ares, and another for Achilles against Hector. Identify this item of armor used to block sword or club thrusts.
A shield.
Shield is correct. Next question. Though his life was a mess in his native England, it improved in America, where his two pamphlets called Rights of Man supported the French Revolution. Name this author of the pamphlet Common Sense.
Thomas Paine.
That is correct. Next question, pencils and paper ready? When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, how many pairs of corresponding angles are formed?
4.
4 is correct. All right, next question. Give the word in the following sentence that would appear last in the dictionary. A chemist spoke at an international meeting today and called for waiving all regulations on the use of DDT.
Waving.
Waving is correct. Next question. Many paintings in this city were destroyed during its Bonfire of the Vanities in 1497, some of which were commissioned by the Medici family. Name this Italian city that is home to the Uffizi Gallery.
Florence.
That is correct. Next question. Name the European country bordered by Austria, France, and Italy that contains the Rhine Falls and the Jungfrau.
Switzerland.
Switzerland is correct. Final question. Root pressure and transpirational pull act to move sap within this tissue whose dead cells become wood. They act to move up sap. Name this vascular tissue in plants that transports water up from the roots.
Phylum.
No, I'm sorry, xylem. Xylem. Okay, Lackey, here we go. Packet 3, your first question. This type of substance can be divided back into its individual elements by breaking the bonds that holds its molecules together. What type of substance, unlike a mixture, is created by a fixed chemical formula?
A compound.
That is correct. Next question. The amarok is one of these animals in Inuit myth, said to kill anyone who goes hunting by himself. Name this carnivore whose examples also include the animal said to have raised Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome.
A bear.
I'm sorry, it's a wolf. Wolf. Next question. In his message to Congress, which president spoke of 4 freedoms? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear.
Thomas Jefferson.
No, I'm sorry, Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt. Next question, pencils and paper ready. There are 20 blue and red marbles in a bag. The probability of selecting a blue marble out of the bag is 1/5. How many red marbles are in the bag?
80.
No, I'm sorry, 16. 16. All right, close the folders, please. Here's our next question. In the sentence, we arrived at the church 2 hours late because Steve got lost and drove us across the city and over a mountain. What term is given to the words at the church, across the city, and over a mountain?
Adjective.
No, I'm sorry, it's a prepositional phrase. Next question. If you live in New York City, you can pay whatever you want to visit what museum that is home to Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory and emphasizes art of the last 125 years.
The Met.
No, I'm sorry, it's the Museum of Modern Art. Next question. In which country did construction begin in 1995 on a luxury hotel where the wartime prison nicknamed the Hanoi Hilton once stood?
Vietnam.
That is correct. Here's the final question. Give the genetics adjective for any trait that is expressed only if both alleles for it are present, a trait usually hidden by a dominant allele.
Recessive.
That is correct. And that's the end of round 2. How about a round of applause for the team? Here we go with our first question. Types of this vegetable include the eastern, often purple or yellow, and the western, St. Charles.
Corn.
No, I'm sorry, it's carrot. Next question. Convection in this region creates tectonic plate movement. Name this layer of earth, McDonough.
Mantle.
Mantle is correct. Next question. Called an adult baby toy by some, this six-sided object may include a joystick and a spinner. McDonough.
A fidget cube.
That's correct. Next question. This state's 7 Indian reservations include Fort Belknap. Name this state whose Crow reservation ends at its McDonough.
Oklahoma.
Say it again.
Oklahoma.
One more.
Oklahoma.
No, I'm sorry, that's not right. Right, judges? No, that was Montana. Montana is what we're looking for. One more time. Our next question is, its predictions of the weather and astronomical data made it an American bestseller before Lackey.
Farmer's Almanac.
More specific? No, I'm sorry. No, we're looking for Poor Richard's Almanac. Poor Richard's Almanac. That was close. Next question. Kansas State University uses a shade of this color whose other shades include pansy, lilac, and magenta. Lackey.
Purple.
Purple is correct. Next question. Examples of it include hasty generalization and, if everyone is doing it, so should you too. St. Charles. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Correct. Next question. If they are impacted, they can shift and misalign other teeth near them. Lackey.
Wisdom teeth.
Wisdom teeth is correct. Next question. Give the new coordinates of the point 9, 4 after it is reflected across the line y equals x. We're out of time. It's 4, 9. 4, 9. Final question. After 12 years as FBI director, what lawyer is now a special counsel studying Lackey?
James Comey.
No, I'm sorry, it's Robert Mueller. Robert Mueller. But that's the end of round 3 and the end of this round. How about a round of applause for these teams? All right, here we go for the championship round. Our first round is, again, the theme round. In this round, all the questions have to do with the word Charles. Charles. Here we go with question 1. Man your buzzers. What British author's most famous work features Charles Marlowe and an ivory trader in Africa whose last words are, "The horror, the horror"? North Point.
Conrad.
That is correct. Next question. Charles Stewart Parnell argued for its independence from England. Name this island nation, now self-governed from its capital at Dublin. St. Charles. Ireland is correct. Next question. What cartoonist characters included Plata?
Charlie Brown or Charles Schultz.
Judges? Take the first answer, Charlie Brown. Unfortunately, we're looking for the writer, and that would have been Charles Schultz. So if you said it in the other order, it would have been correct. Next question. Name the aircraft considered a living creature by its pilot that earned Charles Lindbergh a North Point.
The Spirit of St. Louis.
That is correct. Next question. He helped develop operations research, but is most famous today for his analytical engine. Name this 19th century British mathematician with the first name St. Charles. That is correct. Next question. What man whose sons are named William and Harry is slated to be the next North Point?
Prince Charles.
That is correct. Next question. His 18th of June appeal is considered the beginning of the French resistance against the Nazis. Name this free French general and North Point.
De Gaulle.
That is correct. Next question. Name the European war that began in 1701 after the death of the Habsburg King Charles II, who had no descendants. St. Charles.
War of Spanish Succession.
That is correct. Next question. Name the Charles Dickens novel in which Uriah Heep's plot against Mr. Wickfield is exposed by Mr. Micawber. We're out of time. It's David Copperfield. David Copperfield. Final question of round one. Give the last name of the man for whom Charles County, Maryland is named. We're out of time. Charles Calvert. Charles Calvert. Two. All right, Plata, here we go. While making it, Disney hired someone to study the physics of hair. Name this animated movie based on a classic fairy tale that features a Princess Rapunzel whose hair is 70 feet long.
Tangled.
That is correct. Next question. Her small boy character Farley Hatcher, nicknamed Fudge, appears in her novel Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Name this American author of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Judy Blume.
That is correct. Next question. I think do you have an English teacher out there that just gave you a big thumbs up? Next question. The Series 1 version of this object now pays about 2.5% interest per year. Name this debt instrument of the U.S. Treasury whose $50 edition can be bought for $25 and shows a picture of George Washington.
Bonds?
More specific?
Savings bonds?
That's it, yep. Correct. Next question. In sports, it is either one time around a course or to have gone around the course one more time than your competitor. Give this three-letter word that, when sitting down, is the area between your hip and your knee.
Lap.
That is correct. Next question. Pencils and papers ready. Pencils and paper ready. Here we go. For which values of x will 7 plus the absolute value of the quantity x minus 7 equal 11?
Three and 11.
That is correct. Next question. It only lasts for a single measure or bar unless canceled out by another one. Give the musical term for this unexpected sharp, flat, or natural symbol in front of an affected note. Accidental. Accidental. Next question. What name was shared by 3 British kings who were the son of George III, the winner of the Battle of the Boyne against Scotland's King James VII, and the creator of the Doomsday Book?
Charles.
I'm sorry, William. Next question. Temperature, pressure, and erosion are all important parts of what two-word explanation of how igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary substances change from one type to another over long periods of time?
Phase change.
I'm sorry, rock cycle. Next question. One of its editions is subtitled Infinite Warfare, while a group of other editions has the subtitle Modern Warfare, and a different group is subtitled Black Ops. Name this military video game made by Activision.
Call of Duty.
That is correct. And your final question. The Allred-Ricot scale gives fluorine this parameter's highest value of 4.1, a tenth higher than fluorine's value on the Pauling scale. What property describes the tendency of an atom to attract electrons?
Electronegativity.
That is correct. All right, North Point, here we go with the first question. Which magical word used by Alibaba also identifies a fictional street and a tropical plant whose seeds are used as a seasoning?
Sesame.
That is correct. This writer's website, fallsapart.com, features his novels like War Dances and Reservation Blues. Name this Native American writer of The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Sherman Alexie. Next question. What type of crime that typically includes littering, petty theft, and disorderly conduct is more serious than an infraction but less serious than a felony?
Misdemeanor.
That is correct. Next question. Its study includes learning how to argue effectively and how to persuade others. Give the 8-letter Greek term for this element of language that, converted to an adjective, describes a question like, is the Pope Catholic?
Rhetoric.
That is correct. Next question, pencils and paper ready? Here we go. If the total surface of a cube is 150 square centimeters, what is the length of one edge? More specific?
5 centimeters.
That's correct. Next question. In music, what concept that might be termed dominant, subdominant, or tonic is usually created by playing 3 or more notes at the same time?
Harmony.
It's kind of a harmony, but it's a chord. We're looking for chord. Next question. Name the city once governed by the 30 tyrants and by Pericles that lost the ancient Peloponnesian War.
Athens.
That is correct. Its astronomical variety is the angle between the true vertical of a point on Earth's surface and the plane created by the equator. What measurement tells how far north or south a location is from the equator?
Latitude.
That is correct. Next question. Give the English word for the Japanese device whose name means human-powered vehicle and is a bamboo cart with wheels that can carry 1 or 2 people when pulled by a walking or running man.
Rickshaw.
That is correct. Final question. Its original type G is still used to help prevent rheumatic fever, though not with people allergic to it. Naturally produced by a mold, name this antibiotic discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming.
Penicillin.
That is correct. The federal government center that studies this phenomenon says that the biggest dangers it causes include tornadoes, storm surge, heavy rainfall, and high winds. Identify this type of severe storm whose categories are rated from 1 to 5.
Hurricane.
That is correct. Next question. He took his wife and 4 living children to England in 1912 to concentrate on his poetry. What American's poems collections, like North of Boston, include classics like Mending Wall?
Robert Frost.
That is correct. You answered late just so we'd have that tension for the... Yeah, that's good. That's the way to go. That makes for good TV. Kyle's very happy when you do that up there. Kyle, wake up. Here's our next question. Name the legal document that, after it is signed by a judge, can be executed by policemen to look for evidence that a crime has been committed.
A warrant.
That is correct. Next question. Give the rhyme scheme used in the following poem. There was an old man of Peru who watched his wife making a stew, but once by mistake in a stove she did bake that unfortunate man of Peru.
AABBA.
That is correct. Next question. Pencils and paper ready. The square of the quantity x plus 3 exceeds the square of the quantity x minus 3 by what value? Sorry, we're out of time. 12x. 12x. Next question. Examples of this composition type include 2 by Franz von Suppes called Poet and Peasant and Light Cavalry. Name this type of musical work often played at the start of operas and Broadway shows.
Overture.
That is correct. Next question. He triggered the War of the Spanish Succession by trying to extend the House of Bourbon. Name this long-reigning French Sun King who ruled from Versailles.
Louis the 14th.
That is correct. Next question. Known as Mike during his first years in baseball, he now uses his real Italian first name. Name this slugging outfielder who now plays for the New York Yankees after years with the Miami Marlins. It's either pronounced Giancarlo Stanton or Giancarlo Stanton. The broadcasters argue that. Here's our next question. Used since ancient times to both shape the soil and to dig crops like carrots and potatoes out of the ground, what garden tool usually consists of a flat piece of metal attached to one end of its handle?
A hoe.
That is correct. Here's your final question. This layer of clay may have been struck by an asteroid some 65 million years ago and helped kill off the dinosaurs. Give the term for this layer of soil, separating the Cretaceous Tertiary periods.
The crust.
No, I'm sorry, it's the KT or KPG boundary. But that's the end of this round. Having a round of applause for these teams. Buzz in, I call your school's name. You'll have 3 seconds to respond. You receive 10 points for a correct answer, and you lose 10 points for an incorrect answer. 15 questions, man your buzzers. And here we go for the championship. First question. It is used in contract bridge to describe winning all 13 possible tricks in the same hand. Give this 2-word term for what is won by a pro golfer or tennis player who wins all 4 major La Plata.
Grand Slam.
That's correct. Next question. His sci-fi novels include The First Men in the Moon and The Island of Dr. Moreau. Name this British author of The Time Machine and The North Point.
Wells.
That is correct. Next question. Prussian, Oxford, baby, powder, electric, cobalt, cyan, and cerulean are all shades, St. Charles.
Blue.
Blue is correct. Next question. Name the state bordered by Louisiana on its south that is just across La Plata.
Arkansas.
Arkansas is correct. Next question. Hawaii contains several of what phenomenon that has resulted from the slow collapse of the center of a shield volcano that partly empties an underlying magma chamber and causes the structure to collapse? La Plata.
Crater.
No, I'm sorry, caldera. Next question. Capsaicin, the chemical that makes chili peppers hot and is often found in pepper spray, is also used in small doses as a medicine to reduce pain or itching. Spell capsaicin. La Plata.
C-A-P-C-A-S-I-N.
No, I'm sorry, C-A-P-S-A-I-C-I-N. There's a good try. Next question. After he legally changed his name in the 1990s to a love symbol, people called him North Point.
Prince.
That's right, Prince Nelson. Next question. Title characters in his plays include Electra, her brother Orestes, and Medea, who kills her own children. Name this youngest of the three great playwrights of ancient Greece. La Plata.
Sophocles.
No, I'm sorry, Euripides. Next question. On March 5th, 1770, he was accused by some of hitting a British soldier and thus La Plata.
Crispus Attucks.
That is correct. Next question. Which is the greatest? 1/2, the square root of 1/2, or 1/2 squared? North Point. Say it again? That's correct. Yep. Next question. Thinking of a number between 5 and 6 is easy. This property says that there's also a number between 5 and 5.00001. Identify this property that says no matter how close two real numbers are to each other, there's always another real number between them. North Point.
The infinitive property?
Say it again?
The infinitive property?
No, I'm sorry, it's the density property. Density property. Next question. John Coltrane's Sheets of Sound on It can be heard on albums like Giant Steps. Name this instrument, played by jazz great Charlie Bird Parker when recording North Point.
Trumpet.
No, I'm sorry, saxophone. Next question. Its global football initiative lets mentally handicapped people play soccer worldwide. Name this organization that provides sports training and athletic competition for people with intellectual La Plata.
Special Olympics.
That is correct. Next question. Its 101 miles connect Port Said in the Mediterranean Sea with the Red Sea. Name this artificial waterway that connects the Atlantic, La Plata?
The Suez Canal.
That is correct. Final question. The adjuvant type of this treatment is often used after surgery or radiation. Name this type of treatment that does not distinguish between healthy and unhealthy cells, thus causing unpleasant side effects. St. Charles.
Chemotherapy.
Chemotherapy is correct. And that is the end of round 3 and possibly our competition. How about a round of applause for these students? We have La Plata with 250, St. Charles with 290, and North Point with 310. So congratulations to